Good evening. I'm Pedro Hazel Jr.
I'm Steve Ferguson.
Welcome to another edition of Sportslines Plus. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe button. The NBA Finals have been very interesting to say the least.
Yes, they definitely have been.
Yeah, the Boston Celtics have a commanding 3-1 lead over the Dallas Mavericks. It got very interesting, though, on Friday night as the Mavs routed the Celtics in Game 4, 112-84 in Dallas. The victory avoided a sweep of the Mavericks in the series by the Celtics. But the Celtics hope to end the series and win the NBA championship tonight by hosting Game 5 in Boston. Steve, what's your take on this series so far?
Well, I'll tell you what, Dallas, until that Game 4, was one of the worst teams I've seen in the NBA Finals as far as closeness with an opponent.
Actually, it was the third most lopsided game in NBA playoffs history.
It does not surprise me. What surprised me was how well Dallas played in Game 4. This was a desperate Dallas team.
Definitely.
Obviously beating the Celtics 122-84, completely annihilating Boston. And I can rarely say that about Boston being annihilated in the game, but that night they were. Dallas did so many things well in that game.
Yeah.
First of all, the pace of that game was much quicker played by Dallas.
Yeah, I noticed that.
They ran up the court very aggressively. Doncic had a great game, 26 points. Kyrie Irving showed up and played 21 points. Both of them passed the ball well. They moved well. All their people played for them, even the two centers, Gafford and the guy who played at Duke. I think his name is White. These guys played exceptionally well. They blocked. They were aggressive getting after shots.
They
protected the rim. They passed the ball well. They just did everything right against Boston. Boston probably had their worst shooting night in that game.
Definitely.
They missed a lot of threes, and Boston rarely misses threes like that.
Yeah.
But to Dallas's credit, their defense, which had been invisible the entire series, actually showed up and came to play. What I think it does prove is that it's very hard for any team, even as good as Boston is, to sweep a series.
Yeah.
And especially when you're up 3-0. You kind of lose motivation, enthusiasm, putting the hammer down on a team. And I give Dallas credit. They came in that game and probably said, we're not going to let this team annihilate us on our home court.
Yeah.
We're going to beat this team. They came with such a positive attitude and force that we never had seen in the series. I don't expect Dallas to win tonight. I think Boston will take care of them in Boston. But I think what we have learned is that a lot of teams, when they're dominating a series, they want to win that game in front of their home crowd.
Yes, indeed. As we speak, the Boston Celtics are leading the Dallas Mavericks 82-64 with about 4 minutes left in the third quarter. So we could see right there, they're probably going to win this one.
Yeah. And the guy's center I couldn't think of, I'm sorry, his name is Lively, Derek Lively. He's a rookie out of Duke. Dallas is an athletic team, but I think what I saw with Dallas was they never really had the third scorer involved until they got to that game.
Yeah.
Hardaway, who has been one of their better players for years, Tim Hardaway Jr., showed up and played very well in that game.
Yeah.
They even brought in Markieff Morris, who's a veteran player. I didn't even remember he was on that team. That's how little they used him.
Yeah.
So this team pulled out all the stops to try to win that game. Good for them. They didn't get humiliated on their home court. Their fan base is at least happy to see they showed up. But I have to tell you, tonight will probably be the end for them.
Unfortunately.
And Boston will have won their 18th championship, surpassing the Los Angeles Lakers, which is an incredible record.
Yes, indeed.
And I would say, to be honest with you, the New York Knicks probably would have given the best challenge out of the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
But this team was ready to win a title now.
And
you look at the people they have, 7 incredible three-point shooters.
God, yes.
Everybody on that team can shoot. And then they have guys like Tatum and Brown and Horford and Pritchard and White, and the list goes on.
And they've dominated the whole season. They have the best record in the NBA.
They have dominated the whole season. They've been an amazing team. But I've never seen a team shoot the three-point shot better than Boston.
Yes, indeed.
And the Knicks shoot it fairly well. Indiana shoots it fairly well. But Boston is an absolute assassin when they take threes.
I will say, I have this, I got this statistic out. Al Horford, he had played 186 postseason games without winning a championship.
Wow.
That's going to be broken tonight.
Yes. Al Horford has been in the league for many, many years. He's finally going to get a championship ring. That speaks volumes for Boston because he's been a good player for a long time. He's 36 years of age. He is still one of the best three-point shooters for a center that I've ever seen. He is not known as a physical defender, but he does defend well. When you come close to the basket, he's more intimidating and more difficult. But his game mostly is his offense.
Yeah.
He's an incredible offensive shooter.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Boston looked like they had everything to win the championship this year.
Yeah, they sure did. They sure.
Three-point shooting, without question, has changed the way the NBA is composed and the kind of players you need to have. It looked like Boston cornered the market on that area beautifully.
By the way, the player that spent the most games, or played the most postseason games without winning a championship, the person who came first, Karl Malone.
Wow. Well, Karl Malone, I don't know if he won. I think he did win a championship with the Lakers, but he never won with Utah.
Never.
He was close.
Yeah.
Until Michael Jordan, if you remember that game, folks, when he had the flu and scored 60 points in Utah, which tells you how great Michael Jordan was.
Oh, yes. Player. Yeah, we could spend a whole show talking about Michael Jordan.
Absolutely. We could talk about him in volumes.
Yeah.
What he did to the Utah Jazz, who were a very talented, very good team at that time, was incredible.
Yes, indeed. Now on to the NHL Stanley Cup Finals. The Edmonton Oilers took a page from the Mavericks the previous night in the NBA Finals on Saturday.
Oh, yes.
Totally destroying the Florida Panthers. And I'm destroying 8-1 in Edmonton at home to avoid a sweep in their series. The Florida leads the series 3-1 and hopes to win it all, hopes to take the title on tomorrow night against Edmonton in Florida.
Yes. Let me talk to you about Edmonton, because here's the thing with Edmonton. I really expected them to be swept in this series. Florida has an incredible defense and forechecking ability like no other team I've seen in the NHL. They have a great goaltender in Bobrovsky. He might be the second best goaltender in the league, short of Shesterkin. And what this team did to them was unbelievable.
I know. It's like
Connor McDavid, who is an incredible scorer, they call him in Edmonton Connor McJesus because he saved their season that night. He had 4 assists and a goal, but the entire Edmonton offense came to life like it had not come to life at all. I give them credit because I think Florida was a little flat. I don't think they came out with the same intensity that they normally do. And I tell you what, as a Ranger fan, I wish they had a bad game like that against us.
Yeah.
But the Edmonton Oilers were determined to win. Once again, a team desperate to win, not wanting to embarrass their fans in their arena. They came out to fight, and they came out for blood.
I think, though, being a little cynical, I think they wanted to win the champ. I think Florida, as well as the Celtics, they wanted to win their respective titles in front of their home fans.
I still believe that most teams, when they're ahead 3-0, definitely don't want to lose the 5th game of a series.
Yeah.
And I think both of them have proven, first of all, it's very hard to win 4 games against good teams to begin with. But the motivation and the level of intensity goes down so much. I think you need leaders on your team, maybe the kind like a Michael Jordan or a Kobe Bryant, who would inspire you and push you to get that sweep. But it's a tough thing to do.
Yeah.
And Edmonton had not been scoring any goals in this series. And there was even one game, I believe it was game 2, where they outshot the Panthers, which is something very few teams do. And they actually doubled them in the shots they put on net, and they still couldn't beat this team.
Right.
And so I said, what are they going to do? They lost the previous game 4-3, a very tight game.
Oh, yes. And they were down 4-1.
Yep.
Up until, later in the period, in the third period.
And I heard they just missed scoring a couple of times near the end.
Yeah.
So that game easily could have been 5-4 Edmonton.
Yeah.
So they've been a little unlucky, but Florida, to me, has dominated this series the way they did to some extent with the Rangers. But this Edmonton team, I was wondering, what do you have other than Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you do have scorers. Yes, you are a good defensive team, but nobody plays this game like Florida.
Speaking of McDavid, he, with his 3 assists, now has 32 in this playoff series.
4 assists, but go ahead.
32, breaking Wayne Gretzky's record from 1988, the most in a single postseason. He had more points Saturday night than in the first 3 games of the series combined.
Wow. Well, I give again the Edmonton Oilers a lot of credit. Connor McDavid, this is his first championship he's ever been in. So to his credit, he's playing fairly well, but he really came to life in a game they had to have.
Yes. So
I don't know if the series is going to end on Tuesday night. I suspect it probably will, because Florida will be angrier than hell that they lost.
Yeah. Well, they want to win. They want to win.
Yeah. But when you're humiliated, as they were on Saturday night, you're coming for blood.
This gives them extra motivation.
This gives them extra
Same with the Celtics tonight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I get it. Again, I give Edmonton a lot of credit. This is a team that is trying to be the first Canadian team in over 30 years to win a Stanley Cup.
Since 1993.
It's hard to believe that no Canadian team has actually won the Cup since 1993.
Yeah.
But that is the case. And Florida, to their credit, the way they forecheck and hustle and defend and stay on you, I can't see Edmonton winning that game, the 5th game.
Yeah. Anyway, coming last week, as the U.S. Olympic women's team was selecting players for the Paris Olympics this summer, one notable player was left out. Caitlin Clark, who is the hottest player in women's basketball right now, who is playing for the Indiana Fever in the WNBA. There's been a huge controversy surrounding this glaring omission. The reason was given as she had a lack of experience. Caitlin says she wasn't disappointed and saw it as a motivation.
I think Caitlin Clark is a very mature, intelligent woman to say that. I really do. Because I think the average rookie with her talent would have been so livid that they weren't picked on the Olympic team. Yeah. But she's right to some extent. I think they would have put her on the team maybe if she were in her 2nd or 3rd year. Yes, but I do agree. She does have weaknesses, even though she is an incredible shooter and an incredible talent. One of her weaknesses is she leads the league in turnovers. Mm-hmm. And she's still being not intimidated, but she's being forced to play tougher against these women. Oh, yes. Part of it is Caitlin Clark is a tall, slim woman who is an incredible offensive player. Oh, definitely. But I do believe what the women in the WNBA are doing to her, they are showing her the physicality that you have to play with at that level. Yeah. Angel Reese, she had a big foul against Caitlin the other night. Yes, she did. And those two have a history going back to LSU, Iowa, and college. Oh, definitely. I remember them. She does need to work on her physicality in the offseason. I would say that. She needs to work on turning the ball over less. Yeah. But I do think I can see her being the leading scorer for the Indiana Fever, maybe as soon as next year. Her and Aaliyah Boston are trying to develop that team. That team has been one of the worst teams in the WNBA. I believe up until recently, they'd only won 3 games this year. So that's a lot of it is they have to have more talent around her to make her better, Caitlin Clark. But I think her attitude is going to get her in the next 4 years. Oh, sure. Definitely. I agree. I mean, she's learning the league. Yes. A lot's happened so much. Everything's happened so fast over the past month or past few months. Yeah. With the women's tournament and the whole NCAA women's thing. Yep. And she's probably right now, Pedro, the most marketable player in the WNBA.
Oh, yeah.
The attendance in the WNBA has gone up considerably. People in every city want to see her play.
Right.
New Yorkers have had the pleasure of seeing her play once already this year.
Yeah.
She is a marvelous talent, and when she gets a little bit more experience with the WNBA, the way they play and the style and the relentless physicality, she herself said, I need some time off.
Yeah.
I need to rest. I need to relax. It's been a whirlwind of activity.
Yeah, I mean, she's been overwhelmed by everything.
Overwhelmed to some extent by what's happening. She has incredible fan base support from almost every city. As soon as her name is mentioned, everybody wants to see her.
And it's not just Caitlin Clark. It's Angel Reese. It's the whole WNBA that's really, it's not just her and Angel Reese's impact on their teams, but the whole league.
Well, the whole league is better this year. I mean, you've got people like Cameron Brink, who plays for the Sparks. She's an incredible player. Angel Reese, who's known for excellent defense. Caitlin Clark, who is an incredible three-point shooter. These are the kind of players that are coming into that league now.
Yeah.
And you'll see Paige Beckers next year, most likely, who plays at Connecticut. These are really superior athletes in many ways.
Yes.
But I think Caitlin Clark is a trendsetter in a way that none of those people have been. She has an incredible talent to shoot the ball. She is a great passer for her size, but she has to get to the physical part of the game.
Oh, yeah.
And when she does, and that may be as soon as next year, we will see her probably in the next Olympics.
Yes, definitely.
But I think for right now, it may be better for her and her development to sit for this time around, let the veteran players, the older players of the WNBA play in this championship, this Olympic round.
I agree.
But next time, she better be there.
Yes, she definitely will. And for Steve Ferguson, this is Pedro Hazel Jr. saying good night and see you in 2 weeks. Again, if you like what you see, hit the subscriber button. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody. I think you were a little more relaxed.
Yeah.